here, and welcome back to another episode of the Carbs and Crafted podcast. I'm Kenny. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. Yes, there has been a little bit of a gap. Episodes have been coming out every other week instead of every week. I'm just trying to test that out to kind of see the level of consistency that mainly works right now with me and my schedule, but then also for what you guys need and what works best for all of you. So just bear with us as we continue to tweak and perfect things. But yes, I'm so excited for another episode. This is episode number 6. Yeah, the gaps have definitely kind of slowed things down. So it feels as if we should be much further along than we actually are. If I was still putting them out every week, we would be on episode 8 already. But we're back with episode 6. And before I intro this, I cannot even begin to tell you guys how excited I am for this topic. This is one that is near and dear to my heart. I cannot express to you enough how central this topic is to how I try to conduct my everyday life. And so, as much as I love to sneak in the funny and the fun and the excitement and just, chillax and have a good time with you guys, I feel like this conversation is so important. And if I get a little serious, I'm gonna try to dial it back every once in a while just to kind of let y'all know we're still, just kicking it. But at the same time, I feel like I have to give you guys the real. And in doing so, I could almost see this becoming a 2-part conversation. So we're just gonna see where it takes us. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. The topic for today, it doesn't have any special, title or whatever. But it's all about alignment. Alignment is a term that I frequently use. I mean, if you are in any vicinity of my life or any proximity to me, you know that I talk about alignment all the time. I'm constantly talking about, is this thing aligned with who I am? Is this thing aligned with where I'm going? Is this person aligned with where I'm going? Are these ideas aligned with who I am as a person? Because being out of alignment has caused me so much heartache, so much pain, so much drama, and gotten me into some ruts and some mess. I know y'all can relate, so don't even sit up here and act. But because of that, I feel like I do tend to hyper focus on ensuring that things in my life are aligned. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Because I do feel like there is obviously room to kind of roll with the punches. I think the opposite of it was that I used to be very much blowing in the wind and a free spirit, right? And I still am to some extent. But I'm definitely going to break this down for you guys quite a bit. So buckle up. There are 3 different types of alignments that I isolated for y'all. Divine alignment, external alignment, and interpersonal alignment. And don't worry, we were going to talk about all 3. But I feel as though all 3 do not share the same weight, okay? You probably have already guessed that divine alignment is the number 1 and probably the only one that actually truly matters. But after you have a good sense of what that looks like, and after you have really focused and centered yourself around divine alignment, external alignment, is number 2. And then interpersonal alignment, I would say, is number 3. I'm going to give you guys some quick definitions for all of those too, so you're not just what the heck is she talking about? But yeah, I would order them in that way, at least for myself. You guys know I talk a lot about Jesus and how important it is for me to incorporate him, his word, and his will for my life into how I want to move about and how I want to just show up in the world. So that divine alignment for me is crucial. And I will even go so far as to say it is so crucial that some other aspects that I find are aligned, like maybe a certain person or thing is aligned with my external values and goals and my interpersonal values and goals. But if I feel like it is not divinely aligned, I will let it go. I will cut it off. I am done. Whereas if I feel like something is aligned with me divinely, but maybe not so much with my external situations or my interpersonal situation, then I can kind of shift and move things around. I can kind of finagle and finesse to kind of adapt, be adaptable and work with, my outside space and my internal space to get everything in alignment with what I believe God is calling me to be aligned with in a particular time, space, or season. Okay, so enough of like these big, large terms or concepts. I'm gonna go into exactly what divine alignment is. And it's quick, it's a short definition, you guys. It's nothing crazy. Just divine alignment just means that God is ordering your steps and you are looking to him for direction and guidance. Okay, so divine alignment is God ordering our steps and looking to Him specifically for our direction and guidance in life. So, in terms of setting goals, setting vision, setting purpose, setting intention, you are drawing that from time spent in prayer, time spent reading the word, time spent just asking and considering what God is really trying to tell you and show you in this particular season. And so that is, in a nutshell, the definition for divine alignment. But yes, I think. And you guys know, of course, I had a quick little verse for you today about God's divine alignment and his ordering of our steps. It's coming from Psalm 37:23 through 24, which says, "The Lord directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives. Though they stumble, they will never fall, for the Lord holds them by the hand." Ooh, and here's one more. Proverbs 16:9. "We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps." Oh, I love these. These are good divine alignment verses because the first one obviously tells us and reminds us that it's God who orders our steps. But Psalm 37 specifically says that the Lord directs the steps of the godly. So this isn't actually for everybody. This is only for those who have made an active decision to believe in God, believe in Jesus, believe in the gospel, and make actual attempts to align themselves with his word. And in that desire in your heart for that, God will then direct your steps. And he delights in every single detail of your life, which, yes, that's very King James version-y, but that actually just means that God actually gives a crap about every single little facet of your life, meaning whenever you break a nail, whenever your hair appointment gets canceled and you have to figure out what to do at the last minute, when you are crying over a boy, or when you are upset because you didn't get a promotion at work. God cares about every single detail, and in doing so, he will direct you in a manner that helps you to thrive, that brings you to a place of peace and joy. These are promises that are in other parts of the Bible, but we can definitely glean that from this next part of the Psalm 37, 23, 24 verse, because it says, though they stumble, which we often do because we be out here struggling, getting it wrong, doing things that we think are okay but aren't, and then, just trying to navigate life to the best of our ability. But it says, though they stumble, they will never fall, for the Lord holds them by the hand. So there's no way that when you have entrusted your life into God's hands and you are walking in a manner that is ordered by Him, and you're allowing Him to direct your steps, there's no way that you can actually fall and fail. So He will always cause you to thrive. He will always cause you to win. Anyway, so I just wanted to give that a little bit more context, because I find that in 2023 and the years prior, right, we are in a world where we feel like we should be manifesting our destiny and think it and it'll be, and I want this big car and I can have it if I work really hard and I set myself up to receive it. And I'm not going to sit up here and say those things aren't true. That's a whole nother conversation about the reality of the spiritual realm and like what can be done and what cannot and blah, 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 blah. That's a totally different topic. But the reality is, it is a different kind of love, a different kind of nurturing, a different kind of guidance, a different kind of care that comes from God when He is actively directing your steps. And so in causing ourselves to set intentions that align with what has been spoken over us by God, I believe it will change your life. And that is just my personal testimony and experience. I believe that when you set intention to chase after God's will for your life, it completely changes everything about your life, and for the better, if I may add. And so those are obviously the verses that I wanted to share with you, but I wanted to make sure that I also said, like, it's not going to be easy, okay, to find alignment in any facet, whether it's divine, whether it's external, whether it's interpersonal. It's not going to be easy, but the reward is so great. And I absolutely feel like in this divine alignment space, the reward is particularly great because you literally have a God of the universe who is dishing out favors, who's dishing out gifts, good gifts. There's other verses in the Bible that talks about how God is a giver of good gifts. And I absolutely think it's just something that we have to set at the forefront before we start vision boards and, family planning and vacation. Like, that's all great and wonderful. And I say this even to tell myself as a reminder that sitting at the foot of the throne and just spending time in the Word, spending time in prayer, whether it's actually talking out loud to God or reading a couple of verses in your Bible every morning or sitting down and journaling your prayers out, that type of communion is so important. I don't recommend charting out a vision, a dream, an idea, a goal on your own without first having gone to God and getting your assignment, getting your purpose, getting your direction from Him first. And that takes a little bit of elbow grease, okay? That's not easy, because sometimes you sit up in your room or your prayer closet or wherever, you're like, okay, God, checking your wrist, like, looking at the time, like, when you gonna show up? Like, what do you have to say? Because I have not heard one thing. And that part gets hard because you are quote unquote waiting on God. You're hoping for answers. You're hoping for prayers, sometimes deliverance from really horrible situations, and you don't hear an audible voice telling you exactly what to do. And that is the hardest part. And I am telling you because not only have I experienced it, but I'm dealing with it right now, where the actual pressing and pushing to hear God's voice is the hardest part of the journey, because I want to hear it. I'm seeking it, like I need it, but I don't hear it. And that is because one thing I've learned is that God does not always speak to us through loud, audible sounds. I don't know if he regularly does that at all. The parts of the Bible talk about how the Holy Spirit is a still small voice. So yes, there is something about, your spirit and feeling things in your spirit and knowing that that is the Lord's voice. But how many, look, if you are someone, I know this conversation is probably a little like, some of you are like, what is going on? But for those of you who know what I'm talking about and you understand the struggle of trying to hear from God, how many of you have sat and you felt like you heard that voice of the Holy Spirit in your system and you said, this came from God and I'm going to believe in this and I'm going to step out in faith and I'm going to trust and I'm going to go forward on this word that I know that I heard from God, only for it to turn out to not actually be a word from God, or at least it didn't actually manifest in that way right away, maybe. I don't know. I'll give you a good example. I've been searching for a new work opportunity for quite some time, trying to get into a healthier work environment in a healthier space, applying to multiple jobs, like, as many as you could conceive possible. And, praying and believing with my friends and family who also want to see me find a new work environment that is better and suitable for me. And then, you look at this one job description. It's amazing. You're like, oh my gosh, like this is my job. Thank you, God. Like, yes, this is the one. And then, of course you apply and apply, but then you feel this feeling. Well, I felt this feeling like there was this one particular job that was the job. And I prayed and I prayed and I believed and I believed. And I said, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one. And then a week or two later, I got that email. And y'all know what I'm talking about. I got that email. Thank you so much for taking the time to apply to our wonderful organization. We have reviewed multiple candidates for this, and unfortunately at this time, blah, 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 I didn't get the job, long story short. And it crushes you because not so much that you're like, oh wait, I didn't get the job, but you're like, what? I thought this was what God said. And not only that, I had other people convinced that I had heard this word from God, and we were all praying, all believing. We were all roped into this exciting idea that this was going to be the opportunity that God was blessing me with, and I was going to, preach the gospel in my office, and I was going to reach all these amazing high corporate level individuals with the word of God, and God was going to plant me in this place and use me for his kingdom and his glory, and it was going to be amazing. All of my friends and family so excited and believing for me and praying and sending prayers virtually and joining their prayer groups and getting their prayer groups to pray for me and believe that this was going to be it. And it wasn't. And so sometimes there will be moments like that, I'm sure, that feel extremely discouraging. And so because of that, right, we take the divine alignment out of the equation because it is too difficult to comprehend. And that is a huge mistake. It is a huge misnomer. We say, let's just go back to our default, right? Which, again, we're going to get into external and interpersonal, where we fully and only rely on making sure that everything is aligned with our internal and our external goals. And we completely scrap God. We completely scrap the divine. We completely scrap God's will and call for our life because it is too hard to comprehend what God is trying to do and where God is trying to take us. And so I said all that to say that I have been there. I am here with you. And I resonate with the feeling of being lost or being confused and not understanding exactly how divine alignment is going to be a crucial part of your life, how it's something that you can really rely on and trust. But what I can say, right, that's all like doom and gloom. But what I can say to give you some encouragement is that's actually all a part of the exercise. It is all about trust. It's all about trust. It's all about faith. And it's all about opening your heart and your mind to the fact that yes, maybe you're not always going to hear an audible sound, but God is working in every single place. He's working in every single thing. He's in, the television shows you watch. He's in the blades of grass as you walk your dog down the street. He's literally in the aisles of food and canned goods as you walk down the aisles of the grocery store. God is everywhere, okay? And so when you're opening up your heart and your mind to him through spending time in prayer and spending time in the word, you begin to receive him in ways that you haven't received him before, and that aren't easy, and that aren't just like cookie cutter. And so when you open yourself up to that and you say, you know what, my heart is capable of pushing just a little bit longer and waiting just a little bit longer on God to actually show me and fully show me what he's trying to do at this time in this season and in my life. And I'm going to wait, and I'm going to press, and I'm going to be intentional, and I'm going to seek his face no matter what. So I just want to encourage you to not give up, and to whip that Bible out one more time, say that prayer one more time, and just keep going, because God is in the midst. He's in the midst of your situation. As the verse says, he cares about those infinite details of your life, and he's there, and he's guiding, and he's directing, and he is intimately involved in your circumstance. And so just trust in him and believe in faith, and don't give up on that divine alignment. Don't give up in finding the way to craft your life in a manner that is pleasing to God, and that is anchoring yourself in the direction and the plan and the will that he has prepared for you and that he is trying to show you. Okay, so I don't want to stick on that forever. But as I said at the beginning of this episode, this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. For all of you guys who are listening, who are not here because you wanted to listen to a Christian podcast, I am so sorry, but that is where we are today. And I hope that you got something out of that little summary of divine alignment in that segment, because God had definitely placed that on my heart to share with you. And I think that there's a generation that needs to hear it, and there's a generation that is desperately in need of it. So I hope that if it resonates with you, that you will share it with a friend, you'll share it with a family member, a loved one, someone who you care about, and open up that discussion and talk openly with people who matter to you about ways that divine alignment can start to take shape in your own life. All right, you guys. So we still have two other alignment categories. External alignment, which after you have faced yourself with divine alignment and understanding fully what it is that God has called you to do, and aligning your life and your actions and your things with the plan and will of God. Which is funny because, like I just said when I was reading the verse, yes, there is some intentionality and some effort that you have to do on your part, but God will also do it as well. So that's actually the fun twist on a divine alignment, is because there's not as much of you pulling the wheel, doing the work, the grunt work, as it is for the other two. It's just you committing yourself to it. You just have to make that commitment. Once you make that commitment, God actually kind of does all the legwork for you. But then when we get to external alignment, I have given this the definition of when we begin to search for alignment in everything outside of ourselves, including alignment with our family relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, jobs and career opportunities, and even extracurricular activities. I also just, put out there that External alignment requires knowing your purpose or your seasonal divine assignment. So, just taking us back to divine alignment, and then for those of us who, for whatever reason, just divine alignment is not our thing this season, that is okay. You still have to know what your purpose is or your seasonal assignment. And seasonal assignment just means whatever season I'm in, whatever time or phase of my life I'm in, whether that means I am a student, whether I am a mother, a daughter, whatever is I'm putting the most energy into right now, that is my season. And so based on that seasonal assignment, how am I going to now align my friendships, my family relationships, my romantic blah 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 career in furtherance of that? So external alignment absolutely requires the establishment of goals and or targets, because we are aiming to align everything in our lives to attain and reach these goals. And I think while we have divine alignment and divine assignments that God gives to us, goals as well, you absolutely have to have some goals and achievements of your own, things that are important to you, things that you say to yourself, hey, like, this is what I'm going to push for in the month of March. This is what I'm going to push for in the month of April, whether it be a weight loss goal, whether it be I'm going to read, a book every month. Whatever those goals are, you set them for yourself. And then now in the external alignment space, how can I fashion these relationships and things and environments to help further my efforts to get to that goal and to reach that goal? And again, I think that this is so crucial. It's literally, in my mind, the key to everything that matters in life. Like, you will oftentimes find yourself, or I've oftentimes found myself in scenarios where I'm looking at friends and friendships and I've outgrown them, and I'm like, dang, how did I outgrow them? Well, because I decided to all of a sudden have this random goal, whether it just be to work out, whether it be to grow closer to God, whether it be to wake up at 5 a.m. so I can have a routine with work and be really on top of things. And these people, these friends, these places that I used to go to, these things were from when I didn't have those goals, let's just say. And so they don't really fit with where I'm at right now. And look, I have to say something really important. Sometimes just because you had friends in your past that were hanging out with you and doing things with you in your past that had nothing to do with this quote unquote better version of yourself that you're aiming to, doesn't mean that you just throw them in the trash. Like, I think that every relationship requires and deserves conversation, and requires and deserves just real genuine effort in just trying to all get on one accord. I don't think it makes sense to throw people away if you don't have to throw them away. But oftentimes that is what it comes down to. And I'll give you a good example. Like, I used to be that girl back in the day. Like, I was out at the parties, drinking, having the time of my life. Like, that was who I was. And I carry some of that with me. Not so much the partying aspect, but definitely the drinking, more so in the social space. Nothing crazy, but definitely just like the girl that loves to have a drink and have a good time. And I carried that with me into adulthood. And as I learned a little bit more about myself, I learned a little bit more about some of the things that I'd experienced that kind of drew that fascination and attraction to drinking for me. I started to not have the same desire, to drink. It's something that is, it's just something that I had attached to my identity at one stage in my life, that now at this stage in my life, I don't necessarily associate it with who I am as a person, if that makes sense. So at one stage in my life, I'm like, this is who I am, shots, 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 and now I'm like, I don't really need to have a drink when I go out. Unfortunately, however, because of me assigning that to my identity and then building friendships and relationships around that identity, there are people who are so used to that when in the more recent months where I'm like, I'm not really interested in having a drink for real. Like they were like, girl, what's wrong with you? Like they're now thinking that I am somebody who I'm not being authentic. I'm not being my true self. I'm not being the person who I truly am deep down. I'm, holding back and I'm just doing something that is inauthentic. And it sucks, right? Because it's like, no, actually, that's not it at all. Like, I feel like I'm at my most authentic space right now because I never really wanted to be that partying person, that shots all the time person. I had just attached myself to that during that stage and phase in my life for a variety of reasons. And now I'm coming out of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And because I have other goals and I have other priorities and things that are way more important to me, and things like fitness and health and just bettering my life and myself as a person, that for me specifically, I'm not judging you, but for me specifically, this just doesn't work for where I'm trying to go anymore. And so if you are the type of person that constantly wants to bring me back into that space or make me feel like I need to be in that space in order to not only just be myself, but in order to maintain a relationship with you, then we're not going to be able to have a relationship. That's the bottom line, because this is where I'm trying to go now. And so, yes, in those scenarios, you probably do have to survey that space and essentially potentially cut off some relationships and cut off some friendships because they do not align with your goals, your purpose, and or your seasonal or long-term assignments. And yeah, so that's in a nutshell what external alignment looks like. And you should constantly be looking for ways to find alignment in your career, in your family relationships, when you can, and absolutely in your romantic relationships. I actually think that this is the biggest issue today in romantic relationships, is because people have stopped looking for alignment and they're just trying to find what's easy. They want easy, and easy doesn't really get you anywhere, and it definitely doesn't get you anything long lasting and long term, but alignment absolutely does. So for me, I'm always looking for someone whose goals and aspiration are aligned with my goals and aspirations. Now, do they have to be the same thing? No, because I could be a lawyer and you can be an IT person, but our overarching values, our overarching goals in terms of building a life, if they look the same or at least very similar, then I'm trying to get with the program and you need to come over here and get with my program. You know what I mean? Because then we don't have to spend so much time in the relationship trying to get on the same page, and I'm trying to pull you over here with me and you're trying to pull me over here with you, when in reality, if we just asked the right questions, talked enough, and really got a true sense of who the person was, and not just on a surface level and in a surfacey kind of way, like based on looks or based on how much money do they have, whatever. But again, all of those things are important, right? Because if you are somebody who is trying to build generational wealth and this person is broke and has no real plans that are tangible and actively in the running to do the same thing, then that's not alignment, right? I don't even need somebody to be rich. I'm not rich, but I have to be honest. I'm at a certain place in my life where I'm not trying to build anybody up from the ground. I need you to come with something because I'm coming with something, and that's alignment. I don't need you to be a millionaire. I don't even need you to make as much money as me, but I need you to come with something so that we can kind of start on a similar platform, because that's what alignment is all about. I want us to be starting on a similar platform and we can grow at the same pace. You know what I mean? Yes, there may be a little bit of, okay, you helping me, I'm helping you, make the platform even, but I'm not about to spend the first 4 years of the relationship trying to get you up to speed with me. That's not cool. Like, that's not what we're doing. So, yes, alignment in romantic relationships is crucial, even down to just the little things such as, how do you need to be loved? I need this person to, if they don't already speak my same love language, I need them to be understanding of it and want to find ways to do things that resonate with my love language. You know what I mean? And if I say the word love language to somebody and they're like, girl, I ain't talking, okay, goodbye. You know, I need you to be in the same space as me when it comes to working towards the goals of the relationship, when it comes to the desires of both of us to see the outcome of this relationship be a positive one. We both want the same thing. And I think that's what's missing in 2023. So come check your girl out next week for more relationship tips and advice. It will save your life. Just kidding. But no, seriously, guys. Relationships are definitely hard. They're not easy. That's why there's 1,000,001 relationship podcasts. But they're also not as hard as I feel like this generation is making it out to be. And people are going off in opposite direction, where we're moving away from each other when we really should be coming together and just embracing the fact that, you know what, I love you, brother, but you ain't for me. And same for me. Like, I'm a wonderful woman, but I'm not going to be for every man. And that is also okay too. But the second that you guys start trying to force things, I think that's where we get into a little bit of a bind. And it kind of just makes us resentful towards one another. And that's just not cool. So yeah, it starts with finding who you are. What are your goals? What are your goals in relationships? What are your goals in marriage? What are your goals in love and life and in career? And finding people in your space who really can surround you in a way that helps to elevate you to achieve all of those things that you want. And they don't take away, but they elevate you. And every man and every woman is not going to do that for you, but it doesn't mean that there isn't someone who can and that will and that can't wait to do that for you. All right, y'all. So last but not least, out of the categories, interpersonal alignment. I've been switching back and forth from internal to interpersonal alignment, but they essentially mean the same thing. Interpersonal alignment, my little definition says, it is all about aiming to change or align traits and characteristics of who you are and aligning them with who you aspire to become, right? So interpersonal alignment is, okay, now we're not blaming everything on everybody else anymore. We're not blaming where we are in life on our cousin or uncle or whatever. We are now saying, look, I want to become the next Michelle Obama. So what do I need to do? Now, that's a lofty achievement. I don't actually know if that, if anybody can actually do that. Have you listened to this woman's interviews? I mean, she is phenomenal. But if you are, even something as small as you saying, like, I want to get a 6-pack, right? You say, I want to get a 6-pack. But then you go out and you order the McDonald's with a Big Mac, extra sauce, large fry. Like, that is not conducive to the goal that you just said you wanted to achieve. And you can't make excuses for it either. I get it. Yes, you're allowed to have a little trash food here and there and you can still get a 6-pack. I get that. But that's like the exception to the rule. The rule is that when you say that you have a goal that you want in life, whether it's to lose weight, whether it's to pay off debt, you have loans and whatever you want to pay off, you have to sometimes say, you know what, let me set a budget. And let me write down in my budget book exactly how much money is coming in and exactly how much money is going out. And let me cut back on some things. I'm not going to say I want to pay off all my debt and then go and get another credit card and then put a Gucci bag on it. No, ma'am. You have to work on these aspects of who you are that cause you to do things that are counterproductive to you achieving your goals. So if you are naturally an impulsive spender, but you say, now I want to build some savings and have a savings account that, I can have some investments and start putting some money away. Maybe I need to get disciplined and give myself a spending limit. Maybe I need to get really disciplined and write down a budget and really stick to it. Maybe I want to lose 20 pounds, and so maybe I need to stop eating pizza and wings every single Friday night. Even though I eat healthy Monday through Thursday, I need to stop eating pizza and wings on Friday night because I'm still the same weight that I was last month. I need to do something different with myself. I need to work on myself. I need to work on the aspects of what makes me do the things that I don't want to do that aren't in alignment with my goals and the things that I'm trying to achieve and become. This is probably one of the hardest things to grasp as an individual by yourself, and almost next to impossible to do without God, without the Holy Spirit, without a team, and without community around you to hold you accountable. So in saying all of that, I'm going to encourage you to do 3 things. I'm going to encourage you to go to God in prayer and ask Him to help you with these interpersonal alignment changes that need to happen in your life. I'm going to, 2, ask you to go and find at least one person who you can trust that will hold you accountable, and just regularly tell them what your goals are and how, and your status, and what it is of where you're at in terms of reaching those goals and reaching the thing that you have told your accountability person. Doesn't have to be an accountability partner who's doing it with you. It just needs to be someone who will regularly check in on you and say, how's that going? How's that going? Did you get up and read your Bible this morning? How's that going? Did you end up going on your jog last night? How's that going? That's all you need. And 3, I'm going to encourage you. Look, I usually don't, encourage journaling because I feel like everybody's outlet is different, but I am going to encourage you to journal. Journaling and recording things such as your progress is very important with stuff like this, so that you can see where you are and how far you've come. And it also gives yourself a tangible base of accountability. Because when you write something down and then you don't do it, at least for me, I be feeling like, what's wrong with me? I wrote this down like 3 months ago and I'm still sitting up here doing the same thing. Yeah, no. So that is the 3 kind of like tips I would suggest in working towards your interpersonal goals, working towards your interpersonal alignment, and getting the things on the inside of you on track so that you can go ahead and just leap into the best version of yourself and the version that God has called and designed you to be. So yeah, those are the 3 different categories that I wanted to share with you. And I do want to share a couple of additional tidbits that I think will be really helpful for all different categories with respect to your alignment journey, because this is not easy. This is something I think it takes a lifetime of working at. It takes a lifetime of not necessarily studying, but just kind of honing in and getting down to the core of who you are, who God has called you to be, and how you're going to show up as that person and regularly execute these different aspects of alignment on a regular basis. From boundary setting to getting rid of people in your life, to which career are you going to choose, and all sorts of things. And it is not easy, and you really have to do it one step at a time, one thing at a time, and don't stress out if something is out of alignment. Just kind of check it, make note of it, and work your way to getting in a better space with that thing. One thing at a time is probably the only way that this works. Trust me, everything's not going to fall apart, just do your best, but one thing at a time, in terms of alignment and trying to focus on bringing everything into the right place and space and time is going to be my advice. Okay, but here are just a couple of little tips that I think can help you guys in your alignment journey. What I would suggest is that you break up each category: divine alignment, external alignment, and interpersonal alignment. And you need to spend the appropriate amount of time evaluating each category and surveying where you are in each space. And from then, you will hopefully be able to determine what is it that you need the most right now. Do you need divine alignment the most? What is the most out of whack, if anything? Do you need divine alignment the most? Do you need external alignment in your life the most? Do you need the interpersonal alignment the most? What is the most off track and out of whack? And it's kind of like an alignment hospital, right? Where you're trying to determine what area in your life is suffering the most. So come on, you guys, and check into the alignment hospital, because we're going to get you right, and we're going to get you up in here, diagnosed, and out of here in good shape in just a few moments. But yeah, in this alignment hospital, you'll need to diagnose your alignment needs. Okay, so what is not in alignment? What hurts? What is painful? What is out of whack? What doesn't feel right? What doesn't look right? What doesn't flow right? You're gonna need to find the area in your life that is most out of alignment, and this is gonna be the area that you target. And like I said, one thing at a time. So you'll target this area first. Then you'll need to prescribe yourself. Look, I told you guys, this is alignment hospital. Like every once in a while, I'm gonna come with it. I'm gonna come with this cutesy little concept, and it's only gonna be cute to me. Y'all gonna be like, what is going on? But yes, then you're gonna prescribe yourself a treatment plan that will go specifically to the target area. So let's say something is really hurting in your life with respect to relationships. Every single time you get into a new relationship, the man or the woman is hurting you, is causing you pain, it's a distraction, it's XYZ. So now it's up to you to prescribe the treatment plan. Now, Jesus is my doctor. He writes down all of my prescriptions. He brings all of my medicine in the room, but at the same time, I'm going to need you to do a little something, a little nurse work, a little, this isn't just, let me just lay out and, everything will get better. No, like there is some work on your end as well. And the treatment plan, like we talked about earlier, is really just taking some time to evaluate who is in your space, what is in your space after you determine, is it divine alignment, interpersonal alignment, external alignment. But you have to understand that it might be all three, okay? It might be all three. And you kind of have to just get prepared for the reality that it might be all three. And the treatment for this type of thing is absolutely going to be subjective. Like I said, I gave you in the last one, in the interpersonal alignment, 3 different things that I think would be really, really beneficial, which is praying and spending time with God, and asking Him to help you figure out how to align your own goals and your own actions with your goals, finding an accountability partner, and journaling, which absolutely can still be used as a method to help treat any sort of actions, behaviors, or things that just are no longer serving you, that are no longer positive and no longer flowing and fulfilling in your life. But it is not limited to this. There are so many other things you can do, such as talking to a therapist. There are some encouraging television shows you can watch. There are some books you can read. You can spend time with yourself and just really sit alone in silence and, just be with yourself. Take time to really embrace what it is that you need, where you're going, where you're headed, and what is going to get you there. And really spend time truly evaluating that. And once you do that, hopefully you will come up with your own path forward. But just, yes, this whole treatment plan setup, I don't have the magic, concoction for you. You have to come up with it for yourself. It is absolutely subjective, but I know you can do it. And there are so many resources out there that are available for all sorts of, just life betterment and just whatever area you're dealing with, whether you could be dealing with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, things that are so deep that we can't even get into this podcast, but you know what it is that is affecting you in your daily life. And just take that time to really be honest with yourself and open up to maybe a loved one and sit down and start doing the work. Okay. And so then the next step in the Alignment Hospital, obviously, is to follow your treatment plan as best as possible. So don't just come up with an idea and be like, oh yeah, maybe I need to stop drinking. No, now you need to throw the alcohol out. You know what I'm saying? Now you need to actually throw it out. Now you need to tell yourself, all right, I'm not going to, when I go out to dinner with Susie and Barbara, I'm not going to have a drink. I'm just going to order a water, or I'm going to order a mocktail. You have to follow it. And that is all on you. Set some intentions, get some discipline. Like I said, find some level of accountability and follow the treatment plan. And that's the last actual point, which is do some checkups and follow-ups as needed. And that's going to be within yourself, where you sit down and you actually track your progress, like I said, with a journal or something like that. Or you are following up with a loved one, an accountability person in your life who knows what you're going through, who knows what you need, and you can talk to them and reach out to them and get some accountability to kind of, make sure that your progress is going in the direction that you have set for yourself. So yeah, that's honestly everything for the Alignment Hospital. I believe that is a lot. Okay, so we don't need a part 2, but this has definitely been a lot to digest. I can't wait to actually listen back to this myself, because there are some nuggets in here that I feel like I need for myself. So I am excited that we had a chance to go over this stuff. Like I said, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I'm very passionate about it. I hope that you guys are able to hear the passion in my voice, and that's coming from my heart as I shared with you guys the ways that alignment can impact your life and affect your life, and really when you are honing in on it in a way that is intentional, it really kind of changes the trajectory of a lot of things, and can change your life for the better and for the good, and really help you to find balance and peace, which is honestly what so many of us are seeking. So yes, guys, I am so excited. That is actually the end of our episode, but as you know, episodes, I think it's like every 3 episodes or something like that, I love to drop you guys a recipe. So I am excited to share with you my keto friendly French toast recipe. I'm gonna leave it down in a link in the description on every single platform, podcast, and on YouTube that you guys are listening to this on, so you can click the link and you can find the recipe for my keto friendly French toast. Oh my goodness, everybody loves it. It's so fluffy and soft. It's buttery, it's flavorful, and it is honestly the best thing ever. The only I can tell you the tip right now, the only reason why it tastes so good is because I don't actually make the bread or like do anything keto weird with the bread. I just go ahead and buy this delicious bread from the store. It is carb conscious bread. It's not the keto bread, because I don't actually like keto bread, but it's carb conscious bread. It's the 467 bread from Old Time, and I think I usually get the Italian or the potato bread. And I use that as the bread, just like any other sliced bread that you would make French toast with. And then I just coat it with all the nice French toast concoction that you'll find in the recipe. But instead of actual regular white sugar, I use granulated monk fruit sweetener, which is a wonderful sugar replacement that I've been using for at least 2 to 3 years now, and I'm obsessed with it. So I cannot wait for you guys to try this keto-friendly French toast recipe. I'm telling you, everybody loves it. They are obsessed. They cannot get enough, and I hope that it will be a healthy option for you, your friends, and your family as well. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in to episode 6 of the Crafted and Carb podcast. I'm so happy to have you guys here. This has been fun as always. I am so blessed to have this outlet and this opportunity to talk and open up about some different things that are going on in my life. So I'm going to hopefully look very soon for an opportunity for you guys to do the same and just share different things that may be on your mind and heart, that we can also begin to start talking about on this platform. So stay tuned for that. Okay. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I mean, I can't see you guys, but you know what I mean. All right, whatever. All right, bye, y'all.